Hi,
Hey,
what is
Andrea, how
up?
you
Hi.
doing?
Hold on, my
Awesome.
my
We're
mic's not
not.
working.
Sounds like it's working.
No problem.
It's great to see you guys. It's been
Sweet.
a long
Yeah.
time.
You
Yeah. How have
too.
you been?
Good, busy, really
Yeah.
busy.
I feel
Yeah,
that. I feel that. Well, thank you so much for
Mm-mm.
making time. I really appreciate it.
absolutely. I
Yes,
thought of you
thank
guys
you.
immediately, actually. So,
Oh, thank you. Okay. We ready? Everybody good? Okay. Sweet. And hey, everyone. I'm Brandon Fox. You're listening to another episode of Grandpa and Chill. You're on with my millennial co-host.
Hello, Phines.
Yes, my blood relative, whose name is in the title
Grandpa.
of the show, and our amazing producer.
Buenas noches, Sierra.
Yes. We got two special announcements. We just launched our Instagram, and I would love for you to give us a follow. Oh, man. Okay. Reading copy's fun. You can find us over at Grandpa and Chill. You may even receive a follow back. We'll use this account to keep you updated on all things Grandpa and Chill, as well as show you some behind the scenes and personal material. Also, so exciting, we want you to give us money. So we have also just launched a Patreon platform. Right now we have 3 tiers. Each tier has their own separate benefits. So you get benefits from us, guys. This platform is very new to us, so we're just getting used to it too. You can find it at patreon.com/grandpa and chill. That's patreon.com/grandpa and chill. Here's the show.
There you are. Oh, I thought we'd have to do the show without you, Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
Podcasting will be a thrill. Grandpa and Chill, grandson and friends. Podcasting Grandpa and Chill will be a thrill. Grandson and friends. With your hosts, Grandpa Barton, Brandon Fox, Phines Jackson, and Sierra Dawes. This is Grandpa and Chill.
How was that? That was not bad. Not
it was
bad.
excellent.
Okay.
Not bad, Brandon, but how do you
And then,
spell Patreon? I didn't quite.
All right. So, Grandpa, I want you to give it a guess. Give it a try.
It
What do you
sounds like
think it's spelled like?
Patrium.
Almost. But think of it like a patron. Like it's
Patriot?
like they'll
Oh,
be
patron.
patrons of the
Okay.
podcast. Yeah. Patreon. patreon.com/grandpa and chill. Here's the show. Yeah.
So anyway, no, I've been really busy. I've been mediating here in the city, doing the child custody mediations, and
Yeah.
my sister stumbled upon Philly Truce on WHYY, and it's all about mediating. It's all about preventing gun violence in the city, and I said, let's do it. So I read all about it, and I went through this 6-week training. And being I was already a mediator, I learned mediation through a whole different scope as far as like just mediating high volatile situations, bringing it to the table before what we're trying to do is try to get the conflict before the guns come out, like hit it front, trying to get in front of the conflict beforehand.
It sounds
Yeah.
risky to me because
Grandpa-
if you mediate people and then they kill each other, it wouldn't be.
Well, there's a whole process that that will happen with that, and I think Steve's on. Steve, you're on mute. That's what I thought. I did think that myself, but there's a whole. They'll have like a frisker at the door. They'll have 2 men that walk around the room. They'll have 2 male mediators, always be a mediator, a co-mediator. There's a whole intake section before it goes to mediation. Now, obviously, if something happens at like 3 a.m, we don't run out to the streets. What we'll do is we will have to get it after the fact, like find out who was there, what families were affected. It kind of ties into a lot of restorative justice, like who was harmed, what needs to be mended, and then take it from there as far as healing the situation moving forward. Now, if someone finds out that a friend is carrying a gun and they don't know what to do about it, there's the Philly Truce app, and they would download it and they would contact a mediator, and then that's when we would go in. We would go in, we would ask questions, we'd find out, why do you have this gun? Intervene, and it would be, everything is confidential. It's in the works, and I think it's going to work. I came in because my passion is for children, and children are just, they're losing their lives, they're losing their families' lives, they're losing friends, they're just not learning how to navigate conflict properly, and it's just an ongoing cycle, and it needs to stop. So if this helps, and we do community outreach, we do where people learn about the app, people tell their friends and family, download it. We're hoping maybe to take it to the prisons where, as people are going to be getting out of prison, train them how to mediate a high volatile. If we obviously do an intake of how they are, and, they are street smarts. They know what they're doing. It's a paying job for them. People in the community that come up and they sign in and they do the mediation, and we feel that and you know what, not just everyone's going to be sitting at the table. There's so many different aspects to it. There's intake people, there's mediators on the phone where they take the intake from the phone. It's not really sitting in the hot seat. The hot seat is the tough spot. There, it's got to be for experienced mediators. But just answering that call, we've already gotten 7 calls, and we answered every one of them and did our follow-ups and closed them out.
But before we jump into the specifics, for our listeners who haven't heard you on a previous episode, do you mind giving us your background?
Yes.
And sort of like the lead into how you got
Sure. I am a child custody mediator here in Philadelphia. I actually just became certified in restorative justice training. That's when it's victim offenders meet at the table, and there's healing that goes on. I'm also a coach, child co-parenting coach, divorce support coach. Anything really that has to do with children and healing families is what I'm into. I just actually launched my website yesterday, andreagoldner.com, and it's just healing families through divorces, separation. And the kids are the ones that get caught in the middle and get hurt. They're the victims.
And then you found this through your sister, you
Yes.
said, but it's fully volunteer, and you're going to do it in your free time when you're not
Yes.
working at your primary.
Yes.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
got you.
We're still getting it together. We're still trying to get the app is launched on Android, but it's not launched on Apple yet. They're having some issues with that, but they're able to do a lot of departments. Like we have a department meeting tonight, community outreach, events. They had a big Philly Truce Day the other day, a couple weeks ago, and that's when the first round of mediators graduated. So there's a mediation team, mediation training team, and we're looking to partner with other mediations teams in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And
Andrea,
go,
is this a strictly private enterprise, or are you in any way connected with the government?
No, not connected with the government. It's strictly just 2 guys met at a barbershop after they hadn't seen each other since high school. They're, maybe 30 years ago. I don't know their ages. And they just couldn't believe the gun violence that was happening in Philadelphia, and said, we got to do something, and they came up with this app, and they've been on, a bunch of news stations, and it's
terrible in Philadelphia. I hear
well.
about a shooting almost every day here in Philadelphia.
Every day.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I believe it's the highest homicide
we have
rate in
Steve?
the United States. Philadelphia. Now it used to be Camden,
really, it is.
but now it's Philadelphia.
It is, and it has to be that these are the kids from 4 or 5 years ago who are now picking up the guns, and they're shooting. Where if we can stop the cycle somehow and bring it into schools and teach children, restorative justice. And this is a really good start. Philly Truce really jump kick this into something that could be really, really good.
Hey, Steve, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, there we go. Everybody, this is Steve
Awesome.
Pickens. He's the co-founder of Philly Truce.
Hello.
Oh.
Hey, Steve. Very nice to meet you.
I apologize, everyone, for my tardiness. Hello, good evening. I apologize, everyone. I was having some seriously technical difficulties over here, and I had my microphone plugged in. That's why I needed headphones, but I'm here now. Thanks.
Yeah, we were just sort of getting into, Andrea was walking us through her journey, like getting into the app and I guess meeting you guys. I'd love to hear your side of the story and stuff of how you founded this and what gave you the idea.
Okay, so first I would like to say I heard Andrea, but I couldn't really jump in for some reason. Yes, me and a high school classmate, William Penn High School class of 1992, which is now Temple's track. We were at another classmate that we graduated with at a barbershop grand opening on October the 24th in 2020. And due to my line of work, I was like, really familiar with a lot of the shootings that I'm not a police officer, but I'm familiar with a lot of we have responded to, some of these calls and things like that. So things just seem to be really out of hand. At that point, I was when I was in the car riding to the grand opening, I was speaking to one of my colleagues from work, and he was telling me about a shooting that occurred a week after the Walter Wallace shooting involving a police officer. So basically, I was at a point where it was like so much attention and focus on interracial police shootings, but every day you have not the same attention as drawn to black on black crime, and bodies are falling every day. So me and my partner Mazie felt as though we're our parents' ages when we were in high school. So we just felt as though it was the responsible thing to do at this point. Is like, we have to do our part and not just sit and watch it on the news or listen to it on the radio, or you see how it affects families and homicide. So we started talking. We agreed that we would, all right, well, what are we going to do? We didn't want to be one of the organizations that are here that, they're here, but they're not making the leeway that's necessary to get ahead of the problem of the gun violence. So that's when we decided, through talking, we came up with, okay, well, what about credible messengers in the neighborhood to speak to individuals that may respect, that they may know in their community, trying to make some type of arrangements to have two sides to come together rather than, violence is the first option. Like maybe someone may be worth more to you dead than alive. Maybe we could try to intervene in terms of paying a debt back or in some way, shape, or form, whereas though we can avoid any type of violence. So through credible messengers, we figured we were over the phone. And then through talking, since, it was over the phone, then we said, okay, well, since it'll be over the phone, and well, what about the app? And that's when we just decided to, go move forward with the app. And I believe Barton, I heard you, you were saying, correct me if I'm wrong, you said it sounds kind of entertaining in violent conflicts. I believe that's.
Well, I was trying to make the point that if you've been doing intervention or counseling with these people, and then after doing the counseling, they're involved in a shooting, it would kind of reflect on you to some degree. Would you consider yourself in any way responsible that you weren't able to to alleviate or stop this kind of violence through intervention. Hello.
We might have lost Steve for a second.
You lose
there,
me?
But
No, we
no, I
heard you,
hear
Grandpa.
you, Grandpa.
It looks like he froze on us.
Yeah.
Well,
What are your thoughts on that? Or yeah.
no, go
Phines,
ahead. What were you about to ask?
Oh, I was just curious what Andrea thought about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's. Oh yeah, we lost him. Such a bad connection. It's like I said, you need to be. That hot seat is a tough seat to be in when you're against two people that really want each other to be either harmed or dead or something. But yeah, it's definitely not for everybody. But I think if it's going to help in any way, shape, or form, curb the gun violence in any way. I mean, everybody, they know the risks that they're in for. We always say safety is first. That's number one. We would never send anybody out to do something that wasn't safe. I mean, we definitely have safe protocols in order. And yeah, we haven't had a sit down mediation yet. We've had calls and we've been able to help and send them out to the resources like behavior services and talking over the phone with them, but we've never had to do an actual sit down mediation just yet. But I think the guys.
Which is the plan, though, right? You guys want to get to a point where all of the fielding you're doing is sending people out.
Yes, yeah, we'll have resources like behavior sciences in Philadelphia. Just therapists. We're partnering with a bunch of resources here in Philadelphia.
Gotcha.
So not every mediation would go to the table. I mean, it could be a neighborhood dispute where you can actually maybe go out if it's during the day and a couple of us or a couple of guys go out and someone calls Philly Truce and says, my neighbors have been fighting for so long over this trash that needs to be picked up. Well, maybe those mediators will go out together and say, okay, like what's going on? Like, maybe they don't know that the person is elderly or has a disability. So maybe we could reach out to the block and get like block captains and work with it's also based on working with the community. It's a whole array of many different things, not just mediating and trying to heal conflict. It's trying to heal the communities in Philadelphia and build the communities.
It's unfortunate because I'm reading about it almost every day. In fact, I didn't know we were going to do this program this evening, and I was just telling my wife yesterday how terrible it is that like every day I'm hearing about shootings and young children, totally innocent, not even involved in this, being killed. It's an awful situation.
That's why I jumped in, because I actually teach peer mediation in schools. And that's where I want to come in with this. I want to come in and, bring it to the schools, teach our children at a young age how to navigate conflict, because they just don't know how to. They're not learning in this city or many cities. There's so many cities out there that are getting crushed by gun violence. I mean, it's just, instead of talking it out, they pick up a gun. It's heartbreaking. So,
shouldn't the community itself and the family and the churches be involved in this and try to get things simmer down before they get out of hand?
Schools, churches, communities. It's community involvement. It's not just Philly Truce. They're not in it for themselves. They're in it to partner with as many other organizations as they possibly can to try to shut this down, reach out to the schools and the churches and, try to get this app out to as many people as possible.
And I think they need to get a lot.
And then even with the mediation training, like they all may not be mediators, but at least they'll learn how to mediate, how to like resolve conflict, because a lot of people really don't know how to resolve a conflict. They don't realize that conflicts are both good and bad. It's just the decision that you make. But in a heated situation, to learn, to step back and then,
I think
and then go back.
During this pandemic, it's been bad because people are out of work, and I think that not having financial resources contributes to a lot of these issues. If they had more jobs for people, that would probably help. That they're not in a survival mode.
That's right. I just took a restorative justice course over the past 6 weeks, and they were saying that their agency is inundated with the government coming in and, how are people going to pay retribution to the businesses that they destroyed? They can't financially, a lot of people can't, but they can do other things. They can make it up other ways. And that's instead of throwing them all in jail or,
So, Andrea, do you carry a gun?
I do not carry a gun. And I heard in Texas now they have anyone can carry all the time. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did.
That sounds like something Texas
I was like,
would
what?
No permit. Yeah.
It sounds like something Texas
I
would
couldn't
do.
believe it. No, I do not carry a gun. I've never even picked up a gun. John was putting the air on last night. He went to go shut the windows, and we heard 4 big bangs. I said, "Was that a car backfire?" He said, "That was not a car backfire. No way does it sound like that." And it sounded like 4 gunshots, but we didn't hear any police or anything.
Yeah.
So,
Phines, you had a question a bit ago, and I cut you off.
No, you're fine. I took a bunch of notes. I mean, I guess I want to talk to both Steve and Andrea at the same time, but it's okay. I have questions just for you in general, so it's okay. It's so cool that you are a mediator and all the stuff that you do. I mean, I'm cool is an understatement. And also hearing you say this is so well needed and great, because I'm like, I often wonder where I can help and put a hand into things, like to do whatever I'm best fit to help. And I do think mediating is somewhere where I'm like, I tend to be the best, at least at my job now. I tend to be the mediator between the customers that don't want to wear the mask and my staff that wants to be safe. And so hearing this is like, oh, cool. It's like a sign. So I would like to learn more about mediating. What else? You told me about restorative justice, but that was really cool. I have stuff about the app. If you only had 7 calls, it can't be open for that long.
It just Philly Truce Day was May 8th. That's when it launched. But the problem is we're having a really hard time with Apple. So while we're trying to figure that out, we're really getting, hey, Steve. So we were talking about the safety aspects of it, Steve. So finish jumping in with that.
Okay. So it's, in terms of safety, it's an app. So it's no different than ordering from Uber, a Uber ride, or ordering from DoorDash, or any of the apps. You do it from the safety of your own home. So that's what makes the Philly Truce app unique, is because you're actually able to help someone from any part of the world in Philadelphia from the safety and the comfort of your own home. So it doesn't require any other extra moving around or, going to somewhere through the app. Your anonymity is intact because all you'll see is the Philly Truce number on the app. And also, let me see, where was I at? You can text on the app, call on the app. And at any point in time that you feel as though you've developed enough of a rapport with the person that you're talking to, that's at the mediator's discretion, or through some type of coordination with some of the administration, such as myself. Then we can all, maybe sit down and meet in person. But we encourage no one to go out alone or and to confront any violent situations or potentially violent situations. That's not what we're there for. We're not affiliated with the police, and we also don't involve ourselves in any police work also.
if you get a specific call where you're on the phone with someone and you hear or see, like, you know, you're now aware that violence is escalating, like, would you call the police? Like, what happens then? If I'm sure, like, that's a probably, God forbid, very strong hypothetical, but I'm sure it would happen at some point.
I'm trying to understand your question so I know exactly how
Sure.
to answer it. You said if I'm stop me if I'm incorrect.
Yeah.
You said if you're on the phone and you see a situation that's in progress happening.
Yes. For example, someone calls one of your mediators, right? And the mediator is talking it out and de-escalating a situation, and then you hear a gunshot go off or something like that, and then the phone drops. I mean, God forbid, right? But I would assume that a lot of these situations would, if they're bringing in a mediator, could turn violent.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to back up a little bit. Okay, so the Philly Truce app is designed, and then I'm gonna get to that question also, and it makes sense. The app is designed so what our mission statement is the Philly Truce is Philadelphia's gun violence app. It's designed to put Philadelphians with knowledge of potentially violent situations in contact with trained mediators 24/7. So what that means is if there is a situation that someone has knowledge of, that's when we're trying to get ahead of the curve. So if someone knows some information that, you know, okay, my grandson or my nephew, he's running with the wrong crowd. I know for a fact he has a gun in the house, because right now the family doesn't have anyone to relay information to that can prevent some of these things from happening. The only outlet that's available now, for the most part, I mean, it's 911. So no one wants to turn in a loved one in order, especially, and the police won't be involved if no crime has occurred yet. So we're basically targeting right now the adults, the ones that they fear for their loved ones' lives. So to get back to your question, if something is happening and someone is on the phone with a mediator, we would do that. That person would have to do the same thing that they would have done before the Philly Truce app and before they talk to a mediator. They would have to call 911. That would be the next logical thing to do. But we wouldn't. We at that point, we're just basically there. We're here on the preventative side of things. So things happen and they get out of hand, and we're not putting anyone in harm's way. No way, shape, or form. Police work is police work.
Got you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah. This is such a cool process. I have so many questions. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. That feels so good to hear you say that. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's so cool. Like I was saying to Andrea before when you went off, is that I've been one of those people that's like wondering where I could best play my part to help the society that I'm in, and yada yada yada. And then you always get like these examples of like people like you that like go like, forget it. I'm gonna try to do something regardless of it. And it's so like Black Panther Party of you, because they're very community grassroots, knock on the door, trying to help the community, feed the community, because they're the ones that are watching it. And I know Grandpa said something about the church and the schools and stuff like that. And why can't they help out? But they're just as much as this volunteer group is a part of the community. We're all part of the community. So I'm sure this is just another option for people to have like a way to
join together and to join together, so that maybe the bad guys will say, okay, you know what, we got to back down, because you know what, there's more than them than there are of us.
Yeah, and there is for sure.
So you get it. I know it's
well, it's okay. You did. I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, nothing.
No, that's how I felt when I got the call from my sister. I said, just like what the news article said, I told the guy on WHYY, I said, I have to do this. Like, I want to do this. Like, this is what I've been trained to do for the past 4 years, was to be a mediator.
Yeah.
I don't care where I mediate. And I don't need to be in that hot seat to mediate. I could take intake questions. I could answer the app and find out, information and then pass my information on to the other department. I can be a speaker. I can go out to, different clubs and different events, and I can be a speaker and tell all about Philly Truce and, bring businesses in and get our word out. It's all about downloading. It's all about getting the app downloaded and the word of mouth.
Andrea or
sorry.
Steve, how do people find out? Now, one obvious way is being on a podcast like this, but how normally do people find out about your organization or your mediation?
Okay, so right now, we're kind of in a holding point in terms of, I heard Andrea mention the battles that we're having with Apple right now. I can hear everything that was going on. I just couldn't get in, but yeah, it's been bad. It's been about a couple months now. They've been like bouncing us around from department to department because this type of app is something that they've never even dealt with, apparently in the history of their existence.
It's pretty. It can be kind of intrusive. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It can be kind of intrusive what you're doing a little bit, right? Is that why Apple's have an issue?
No, Apple. They have. It's been multiple issues in terms of insurance, in terms of what are some of the other ones? Who the mediators are, who the trainers are. It's just been right now it's in their legal department, but Google, on the Google side, I won't jump to that right now, but the problem is that they haven't given us specific questions in terms of it's been very vague. First, they operate like Facebook, so you cannot really communicate other than email. And we did get a phone number, so right now we have been in contact with a person, but he isn't a decision maker. He's just trying to relay as much information as he can. We've sent it's a demand for this. I wouldn't really say it's in my opinion, so much liability on their behalf, only because the reason why I would say that is because they're protected in a way whereas though the app isn't they're trying to understand the way the app will work and what harm could possibly be encountered through a mediator. But as I stated earlier, this is an app, so we it's like any other app in existence. Like we've brung violence prevention into the 21st century. So the purpose of the app is so that everyone can be safe and not have to confront individuals face to face in person. If that sort of answers any questions.
Yeah, these big companies are always concerned about their liability.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So
I really like this idea, and I know you said that your main goal is right now is getting like adults who maybe like know something but maybe don't know everything, and they want to see like what I can do without having my children be like, or my grandchildren being like murdered, that kind of thing. But I think it also just it sounds like the Philly Truce has a lot of potential in schools as well, like at multiple different levels of schools, because like it sounds like a great resource, especially if a school doesn't have like its own counseling service, or the counseling service they do have isn't that good, or maybe they report straight to like a school resource officer or some kind of law enforcement. Like this seems like a great alternative to that as well, where kind of like maybe kids at some point in the future could go here as a more anonymous source of either relaying important information to an adult or getting some kind of conflict resolution, like advice on how to handle a situation that they're dealing with themselves.
That's right. I mean, teachers have so much on their plate as it is, so we can't expect teachers to also, they're already mediating every day. I mean, that's what they do. So to have resources come into the schools, not teachers, and teach children, conflict, what it is like anger management, how to resolve your problems, just morals in general. I'm talking about all kids because they're just not learning these days, and just safe, like, to be safe, and they'll just learn. They just need to learn how to just be good human beings, and I think the restorative justice and like Philly Truce mediation is really good for that.
Sierra, that is correct. We're actually we received a grant from the city of Philadelphia through the Office of Violence Prevention. So what we're doing with the grant, we're that's our segue into the school district. We're doing a contest that we will make through the contest from the elementary, middle, and high school grades. We will make I don't know all the specifics because we're still working it out in terms of who the winners will be. But what will happen with those? It'll wind up being about 120 students from the 3 grade levels. They will be Philly Truce ambassadors. So what we will do is we will train them also to be to do mediation inside of the school. First of all, I would like to digress and say that Philly Truce exists only for those who are willing to accept help.
Right.
Some people are bent on doing whatever it is, whatever revenge or for whatever reason, they want to confront someone and they won't hear anyone. We're here for those who actually have taken they don't want to do certain things or commit certain acts, and they haven't gotten to the point where they've tuned everyone out. And I would like to say we have a meeting scheduled with the Department of Behavioral Health and Intellectual Disabilities on next month. That's going to be a big meeting. Andrea has connected us with Good Shepherd Mediation to take over the training. We have the Lutheran Settlement House, which provides training for survivors of domestic violence. So we're basically calling, and I heard Barton also mention about churches and different groups. We need, and Andrea also said, is more of us than them. So what we're doing is we're taking all these resources. We need everyone. We need violence prevention organizations. We need the religious community. We need the business community. We need everyone in the city to become familiar with the Philly Truce app. And I forgot, I didn't finish my last thought. Right now that Barton asked me, we've kind of had to navigate carefully and still progressing because of the tie up with Apple. So we haven't been able to fully go out on the ad campaign where it's on the buses, it's on billboards, it's on the television, it's on the radio, because a large majority of the population have Apple devices. So right now it's in our best interest to, just kind of like stay not under the radar. We're still visible, but we can't be as visible because of this one hang up. So we can't really promote it all out the way that we really would do if we were on both platforms in order for people to download it. So, and we're still we're new. We're about 7 months old. We're still in the process of configuring mediators to take the calls. That's why we need all groups, church groups. Not just church groups, but religious groups and business groups and citizens. We need everyone to get ahead of this problem that we've been experiencing. So no one is exempt from becoming a mediator, or maybe it may be me or one of us on this line that may actually need help in some form, some capacity and we may have to, but it's not 911 help we need, but we need a more direct answer than they would be able to provide. That's why the police isn't the answer to every call that comes into 911, because everything isn't a 911 call, and people are being detained for basic things just to basically be removed from where they are at that time. But that isn't the answer all the time. That's all.
Dialogue and conversation. That's what I say. People want to be heard. That's just they want their voices to be heard.
Yeah. And I know on the media right now they're basically saying that the police shouldn't have to be involved in all of the issues that are more psychological issues, and that other people should be handling those kind of problems. So it sounds like you're working. I want to ask a question that's more specific and not general, but well, it's general too. Is there like a bell curve of the age that where children or young adults are more problematic?
To be honest, in answering that question, we had a conversation today, and we're gathering that data now. That's where we are, because of course we're very close to finishing our overall plan and our approach. So all that information in terms of for funding and grants, we need that data, and we just set up a meeting in order to that's like the tail end of what we're doing. So at this point, I really couldn't give you the correct answer, because I could give you an answer, but I would want it to be backed up statistically.
I'm confused about something, and maybe it's a misunderstanding of what I heard. My understanding from what you were saying is that your organization is really like only 6 months old, but then I heard that and maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but it's been around a long time. And did I hear that or no? There's something about it having been many years ago that two people started it, but I guess I misunderstood. You're basically a 6-month-old organization. Am I correct about that?
I think you froze. Yes. Yes. I know. I heard about it about 5 months ago. And when I jumped into training, they were on their second week.
I see.
So,
okay.
Yeah, they're new. They're about 6 to 8 months old. And they've got some great people on the team. And they're working so hard.
Well, you really need to do something in Philadelphia, because it's terrible. I live very close to the city, like right on the city line, but the amount of violence in the city is just it's unbelievable every single day.
Yeah,
it's awful.
And is Philly Truce trying to expand outside of Philadelphia? I heard.
Yes.
Steve's back.
Hopefully, yes. Make it nationwide. One day.
Got you. And you said you've fielded 7 actual calls from people using the app before.
Then yes, the first day it launched, there were about 7 calls that came in, and they all got answered and resolved. None had to go to the table. And then
great.
Like
what do you mean by go to the table?
Like a mediation table with mediators, and it was just pretty much phone calls that the mediators made to the parties, and just we either sent them resources or talked them out of whatever was going on, found out some information, and we were able to help them resolve it.
What seems to be going on right now, partially, is that people have guns, and they're going out and just randomly shooting people. I mean, it's not even that they're in any kind of confrontation with anyone. They're just going out and driving around the neighborhood and shooting guns.
I was in Fishtown about 3 weeks ago, and then the next night I was watching the news, and the exact spot where I was, 24 hours later, 2 people just decided just to take their guns out and just shoot people that were standing there waiting in line for something, and then they ran away. It's crazy. It's not crazy. It's sad. It's heartbreaking, and hopefully, something's got to be done. And on the on the app, it'll have reach out to a mediator or become a mediator. So on the app, you can hit become a mediator, and it'll give you it'll direct you immediately to find out when the next mediation class is.
Oh, nice. All right. Let's see. What was I gonna say? Let's see. Guns, people dying. Yeah. That's what they're made for. And if you put a bunch of them in Americans' hands, then you only can expect that that's going to happen.
Wrong hands, absolutely.
I mean, shoot, anybody's hands. I mean, if you put that many guns in anybody's hands, I am almost certain, which is already happening, people are randomly going to get shot because people are random. And if you give someone random a gun, they don't, I mean, it's just, to me, this seems like it's a numbers game at that point. But it's so funny that a gun is made to take a life, and it's like everyone has one. You would think, like, to like learn karate.
Yeah, taekwondo,
mm-hmm. Boxing, almost any of these things that are considered lethal at some point. You have to take all these classes to understand yourself and understand others and understand when is the right time. And it just doesn't correlate with the fact that we're getting so many guns so quickly and so fast. And then, it's not like my fists that are weapons, but it's like,
no, they're just being, they're running background checks, but they're not finding what they're supposed to be finding.
It'd be nice for them to take like a course, a course in like, hey, use this as like the same thing you do for martial arts, same thing you can do with a gun. I mean, I definitely could argue that a gun is more harmful than someone that knows karate or taekwondo.
Can you talk about the like gun law type situation for people that aren't in Pennsylvania or Philadelphia?
I don't know the gun laws. Does anyone here know them?
No, I know that you can't have a felony conviction. That's a U.S. law, and own a gun, but it doesn't seem to matter to people that, are going to go out and commit a crime. They're not interested in what the law is.
I just thought it was interesting.
They're getting them.
Because,
so like Steve was saying, it's, if you hear something, say something. And then here's an app where you don't have to leave your home and, and then just get in front of the problem.
I think one thing that could help a lot with this situation in general, it would take a long time before it would become real effective, but require liability insurance, just like you do with automobiles, for people that take guns out of their home on public streets. And, obviously, like I said, people that don't care about the law, it's not going to affect them in the beginning. But over time, it'll be much, much more difficult for people to acquire weapons with who don't have liability insurance. And the insurance companies would be interested in checking those people out, checking out the people that they're going to
That's
insure.
Right. That's a great point. Wow.
That's what they really need. They want to have liability. Anyone that takes a weapon out on the public streets, in your home, that's a different situation. But out on the streets, then where you're involved.
Yeah, and if a gun place is, they find out that they sold someone a gun without insurance first, then.
Right.
I know in Illinois we talk a lot about the different pipelines we have, because I think it's like Illinois and
My
New
volume
York
is so low, and I don't
have
know why.
some. Sorry, I can be louder.
Go ahead.
I know in Illinois we have very strict gun laws, and so like a common pipeline, for example, is to like buy a bunch of firearms in somewhere like Indiana, and then just like drive them, ship them, whatever, across state lines. And that's how they get, that's how a lot of different illegal firearms get in Illinois. And like, I get what you're saying about the insurance, but most accidents are in the home, right? Like with a weapon that's like not secure, or it's just for some reason loaded, but like hidden. Like, I think I just saw a story the other day. I don't remember where it was, but somebody had a gun, like two guys had a gun hidden under like a couch cushion or in a couch cushion. And like a 3-year-old found it and shot their like 1 or 2-year-old sister. So like, so just a lot of violence is just because of like not neglect, but, you know, like poor judgment.
Sure. They're not put away properly.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, it's just gonna be a stupid joke. But you know,
say it.
well, you know how people are like, hey, you know, guns save people. You know, if I have a gun, I can shoot someone down and save them. Well, this seems like a better option and probably less costly.
This is so much better.
But I don't know. We gotta see the numbers, I suppose. Talking down compared to shooting someone that you think's gonna shoot you. No, I think this is
like during their we did a lot of mock mediations, and one was two guys at the table. They're so angry because one thinks the other one shot his niece, and there's no conversation. And then, you know, he's got a gang of people and he's got a gang of people. Well, you bring it to the table and you talk to them, and it could take 2 hours, 2 days. It's not a quick fix. I mean, it's not a quick fix. And basically, if they can't come together, at least on the first mediation, at least shake hands and do a truce. Like, okay, listen, we're going to come back. You know, we're going to bring other parties back because you're saying this person was there and you're saying this person was there. Like in any mediation, let me meet with them and I'll meet with them. But just let's shake hands and let's just do a truce that you're just going to just cool it down right now until we can resolve it and find out all the facts. So we're hoping that's what happens as far as mediation goes in a high volatile situation.
I might be so out of the know on this, but when you say sit at the table, like what specifically do you mean? You mean inviting two different people that both have this conflict to like a neutral location? Like you guys have an office or something?
We're going to be getting locations. What we'll do is, being that we'll be in different communities, what we'll do is we'll get what I understand is we'll get a location in their community, a safe environment in their community, and then you get the two parties. The sit down is when you have the two parties that are actually having the conflict.
Right, but only one of those people would have reached out to you on this app, right? So how would that even work to get the second person?
To that other person and say, you know, can we have a sit down? You know, we hear that there is a conflict that needs to be resolved. Are you willing to come and sit and talk about it?
Wow.
Both parties have to be willing to talk about it to reach any type of, you know, agreement on anything.
I can see where that could be hard though, because it's like snitch light.
Yeah.
Because if you were to call me and you weren't the police, I'd be like, oh man, this person's even worse. They didn't even call the police. They called someone to talk it out. I'm really gonna beat this person up. But I'm sure they'll try to find a happy medium. No. I mean, what?
Try to find a happy medium.
Yeah.
No.
It is a real
concern. It's just funny the way you said it.
I said I can handle the high school kids that are bickering and fighting in the schools. I could do those mediations.
I tell you what, I don't know. But the average, me, at least if I'm the student in high school and you call me and go, hey, Patrice or some other guy was like, hey, they don't want to, you know, we've heard there's some issues, we want to talk in the media area. And I'm like, yeah. So he snitched on me? Oh man, this is awful. And then I would go beat him up. When you weren't there.
No.
But hopefully that's not the case, of course, you know.
Right. I'm sure there's I'm not on the mediation team right now. I will mediate and they're still forming that. I'm sure and we're still actually redoing the mediation binder and adding more stuff to it. So I'm sure there'll be a whole different procedure as far as that goes. As far as reaching out.
It's not safe for the mediator, but I know this is bad to say, but I almost would rather the person be on site when it happens. That be the mediating. Like I know it was a high feelings, but I wonder if there's an option, because sometimes I think it'd be really hard to get two people that, especially if you're doing a situation that you're saying someone I thought killed my niece or nephew. Yeah.
Right. Right.
There's not much handshaking that I would be able to take that would quill anything.
Well, a handshaking until if we go into like 3 or 4 hours, I guess, and we need to bring other people in. That's why the logo is a handshake.
Yeah.
Just to, you know, I mean, I'm sure it's not going to be like a you know, come shake hands, but I mean, we hope it would be.
And it's better than nothing.
non-violent
de-escalation,
sort of
like, okay, let's
deep breath of agreement, right?
You know, give us your
Yeah.
word.
Yeah.
You know, and you and you, like, you know, they're going to leave with whatever they say they're going to do or not do. We just have to hope that we can bring them back, and it could be a feud that happened 2 or 3 generations ago. It's still going on.
But you are right. Talking it out does, like, at least give me some room to think. Like, even if I was like, well, yeah, I still am upset, but at least I had time to kind of air it out and air out their grievances. So I think that,
And, you know, when it comes to maybe, you know, maybe not a murder or anything like that, but sometimes people just want, like, acknowledgement and I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. And I know when I teach the peer mediation, like, and that's what the kids are understanding, because a lot of stuff goes on with social media and kids will post something because they think it's funny, but it really hurts the person that it was written against. And after some time, it takes the one who wrote it to be like, you know, when she first comes in, she'll be like, I'm not saying an apology, I meant to be funny. Well, after a while, she comes to realize that, you know what, I shouldn't have done it, I'm sorry, I won't do it again. You know, I apologize, will you accept my apology? And then
but you guys are specifically targeting the potential for violent crime, though,
yes,
right?
Potential.
Okay, so when you're going into
Hi, Grandpa.
Great, Grandpa's back. Can you hear us, Grandpa?
Mistakenly must have hit a button and all this kind of computer stuff came up on the right. I tried to knock that out.
We can't hear you.
Yeah,
can you hear him?
Sorry about that.
It's potential. Like I said, it's like, I mean, like you said, it's still really in like the baby stages, but not really. They have the app, they have the staff, we have the mediation manual that's just being tied together with all different other, because there's so many other different ideas that people are giving them, and they're like, okay, well, let's put that in there, or let's try this and let's try that. So the mediations will be safe. There'll be you know, always a mediator and a co-mediator. There'll be 2 roaming people who will just kind of like roam the room if it's a high volatile situation, and someone to watch the front door to make sure that no one is outside. Hi, Steve. So it'll be very safe. They'll know they're safe. And yeah.
Andrea, I heard you mention that you were on NPR. Am I correct?
Oh, yeah.
That? Yeah, that sounds like would be a very helpful situation, but I would think that the local radio and TV stations could be very helpful as well.
Oh, WHYY.
Right.
Yeah. But I wasn't on it. I was just quoted in they called me and they interviewed me, and that was the first 2 weeks I was in training, so I kind of feel like I was a baby back then, and they just wanted to know my thoughts and why I signed up for it. Right. And, you know, it's for the kids. Someone's gonna have a voice for the kids. Yes.
I'm sorry, Andrea. Were you finished? I'm sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
In terms of going to a mediation table, we're looking to as a last resort, where the majority of these things can be handled before it even reaches to that extent to have to go to a table. The only thing that we foresee exactly being necessary to meet at a table with are retaliatory shootings and things that have already festered for years. So in terms of trying to get ahead of the violence, we're more preventative, so that way most of the call will be about, you know, neighbors, things going back and forth like we've already received recently. Keep them down to a minimum before it escalates to any type of violence anyway. So that won't be the not hopefully, but we're looking to, you know, quell some of the things that have been ongoing. So those may require going to a table, and some of those parties may not be even interested in going to a table, because some of these occurrences of the violence that we're experiencing now are generational. So if we can get to the younger ones, before, you know, they become infected with, you know, this is what our family has always done, or this neighborhood has always fought this block or this, you know. So we just trying to counter the culture of violence in terms of it's just being as common as drinking a Pepsi or something.
I would imagine that hard drugs would have be part of the issue in a lot of these issues, in a lot of these cases.
You said the drug trade?
I would think that it would, cause issues. The use of hard drugs might be a problem, where there's dealing and the use of hard drugs.
If I'm understanding you correctly, Barton, we definitely know that a lot of I heard before I dropped off again, I heard that Andrea speaking about some kids were, just openly shooting guns somewhere. First, I wanted to say, because I did hear that, I want to say this: we're experiencing a mental health crisis or epidemic right now. That's first and foremost, and then someone knows that those guns are in the house, or if they're kids, they live with someone. We're experiencing problems on many levels now. We're experiencing problems of unsupervised social media use. We're experiencing problems on levels of a lack of supervision. Young parenting, parents that weren't raised with certain morals and values and respect for others that they can't teach. They never learned them. So that's where we come in at. I was speaking to someone today. We used to learn a lot of this stuff. I'm 46 years old. My partner, he just turned 46 on the 18th. So I heard that also earlier. I'm not sure how old they are, but yeah, I'm 46. So I mean, in the schools, we were taught moral. I'm a product of the Philadelphia public school system. So I mean, we were taught. Right now, my wife, she worked at Frankfurt High School for years. The kids are basically running the school. There's no type of reprimand for any, teachers being beat up or kids getting suspended. The kids are allowed right back in the school. So they're sending the wrong messages on all levels, in the home, in the school, and anywhere else in society. So we want to be that responsible group in order to give, because what I've learned is all the youth and young adults, they don't want to go certain ways, but if you're not taught, you'll fall prey to whatever the status quo is in your family or in your neighborhood. And we've come to be that responsible voice again. We're come to give the community their voices back. Neighbors are afraid to speak up when they see things because they fear these kids. They fear the young people that, they don't want to, they don't want to be shot. So now we're giving them the ability to not turn someone in, but we're giving them the ability for some of these violence prevention organizations to come into the community and have a direct target. We're in the second floor in the back bedroom with someone that's going to make a bad decision now that before that option wasn't there.
It sounds like things are really out of control right now.
Yeah, it doesn't sound good at all.
No.
But we have hope.
Out of control.
Things sound pretty bad, and the news media plays a part in that. But we're happy to say that, as Andrea said before earlier, it's more of us than them. So if you have people downloading that app to know that I don't have to make a bad decision, and then you have people downloading the app that says, you know what, I want to help someone that may make a bad decision. So when those two come together, then we can get our, some sort of peace and harmony and sensibility back into our city and back into our country. Because at this point, I'm researching, because we have a virtual town hall forum with Congressman Dwight Evans on on June 7th. I can give more information with that. But I was researching the federal government, and this was from 2019. The federal government hasn't put any funding towards gun violence or violence since in the last 23 years. So I'm not going to say that's all of the problem. but a lot of extracurricular activities, a lot of things were cut in terms of outlets for the youth and for the young adults that are growing up. And at this point, we have a plan all the way out to 2050. And that's what we need right now. It took us about 25 years to get where we are now, because the last time this happened, it was back in the 90s. It was about 500 homicides, but it was mostly drug related. And as Andrea and everyone's commented earlier, now people are just doing it for no reason at all. So part of that is some of the things that were removed in terms of saving people that may have the propensity to commit these acts, but they wasn't tipped all the way over the edge. What we're experiencing right now is people that are being pushed over the edge, and they don't care. They don't see themselves living past 18 or 21 or 16. So of course they're not going to value anyone's else life, but we can change that. We definitely can change that if the people from a safe standpoint are able to at least get to those that may want to listen or may actually want some help. Right now, we don't know who the ones are that actually want help in making some decisions, because everyone doesn't have the mental capacity to make good decisions, such as you and I or anyone else on this line. I mean, unfortunately, they don't. And sometimes maybe I might not make the best decisions, but I definitely wouldn't go to the extent of violence or anything like that. So that's all.
Well, Steve and Andrea, from an operational standpoint, let's say that you get a call from someone that has issues with violence, but you can't get through to the person that may create the violence or that they're afraid of. How do you handle a situation like that?
Okay, so as I stated before, first is identifying. So whoever the person may be, it could be a neighbor, it could be a cousin, a mother, a grandmother. We're identifying, okay, this person has a problem. I'm gonna give you an even better example than that. The shooting that occurred down in Atlanta at the massage, the spa. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say massage, but the spa. So that person that committed that act, someone knew, a neighbor, a coworker, someone that maybe have seen him in the market. Someone knows this individual was something maybe just wasn't right about him. But because it wasn't addressed to our knowledge, maybe he did have professional help at some point in time in life. But these sort of acts of violence, someone has seen some behaviors that aren't all the way normal, and then once something like this happens, okay, someone else just went over the edge again. But were there any resources, or was there any eyes? People feel as though they're not being watched. Or we have all these cameras and technology now, but people still feel as though they're not being watched. But they are being watched. They're being watched by people, which is the most the best form of surveillance that there ever is. So now, okay, you have this information. Who can you tell? Who can you say something to? We just want to get people help. That's all. Like young, no matter how young they are, no matter what they think, like, we just want to get them the proper help, continuous help, not just one time. That's why a lot of the events that take place with the violence prevention organizations in the city and across the country, the follow-up, I'll even go to something, say, as big as the Million Man March. Okay, so we want to know, with Philly Truce, our mediators, the majority are women. Is that correct, Andrea? So it's like, where are the men? That's the problem. So it's like, the problem is that we're not, the follow-up, the wraparound is failing at this point. And that's where we're coming in, that we're trying to make sure everything is intact and everything is in place to continuously give those individuals, to stay with them, as long as they may need, there's no end in sight for it, because we have the resources, we have the people, we have younger people that are coming up that are able to, continue with support. We have to, we have to love these people, which sometimes it's hard to do that.
And the app it's confidential. Like, so when you type in, like, you know, what the problem is and you give your information, like no one knows that you're the one that made the call. So you could be saving, you know, your best friend's life that's sitting next to you that you would never snitch on, but you're going to say something because there's an outlet now where you can do it.
Yeah.
So if people come to you and come to that person and just, you know, to address the situation, they'll never know that it was you that said something.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'll fill this to Andrea and then also to Steve after he gets back on. But the example that Steve gave in Atlanta, for example, is a problem with mass shootings in the United States of America, which in my mind is a very different issue from like person to person crime, usually that happens in the household or with other people that they know, right? Are you guys saying that this app is also useful and helpful for potential mass shootings in the country?
I mean, Steve, are you there?
Yes, I can hear.
Okay.
I'm here.
So his question was, is our app potential for future mass shootings?
I mean, yeah, just to, because what you're talking about with the example that you gave in Atlanta, there's an epidemic or whatever the word is. I mean, there was another one today. I mean, literally today.
Oh yeah, I didn't hear about
it.
it.
Yeah,
Wow.
At least 7 people at a railroad. It's a huge United States tragedy, I would say. But I would think that the approach to something like that would be extremely different to what you guys have been talking about so far, which is like people that usually know each other, like one-on-one conflict that leads to sort of like gun violence or crime.
I mean,
right?
it could be like someone standing at a locker and hearing that, you know, looking inside the kid's locker and seeing like this big shotgun or just hearing something. It's more of like, if you hear something, you can confidentially say something. So if it's somebody that could potentially stop a mass shooting from happening, that knows it may happen, then this could work as well.
Right. Okay.
I mean, yeah, it's for any type of potential violence that's in the works.
That's
you. I'm sorry. Go on, Steve.
I'm sorry, Brandon. That's correct what Andrea just said. In the way of a mass shooting, again, everything starts off with maybe, you know, some maybe some strange behavior. Maybe someone sees, someone knows. And what the problem is now, it's like, okay, well, maybe someone's busy. Someone knows, but it's really no outlet in order to, because if you call 911 and say, yo, this person is acting strange or suspicious, they pretty much going to come out. They may investigate and they'll say, okay, well, it's not really much we can do. There's no form of intervention that's readily available for prevention. So right now, that's what this tool does. Is if someone's in the store, say, okay, so let's say a store clerk, because now they say the ghost guns, people that can't get guns legally are putting guns, making them, building them on their own. Okay, they have a problem with tracking them. Okay, so now guess what? The person in the store can say, this guy came in about 2 or 3 times for different parts for a gun. So now guess what? Maybe someone from the community can, you know, they can park a car or they can hang around the store and maybe, you know, at this point, in through the app before anything happens, maybe try to develop some type of rapport or at least speak to this person by identifying themselves. Like, I'm from the Philadelphia anti Violence Network, and we noticed that you're coming here buying guns, and I'm just saying this hypothetically, but just start some type of dialogue. Hey, do you need any help? You know, because a lot of these things are coming from different insecurity issues, whereas though people are, you know, in some way they're lacking, and it still isn't being addressed, and then eventually they're acting out based off of the need that, you know, hasn't been met, maybe from birth, or maybe it's psychological, maybe it's food, maybe it's shelter. You know, it's a basic human need, you know, that hasn't been met.
And is it hard finding enough volunteers for this? Because I imagine the type of person that would be able to de-escalate in such a serious circumstance. That's a very, I would say, maybe not rare, but hard skill set to have, right? I mean, maybe Andrea could speak to that, but.
If I could just jump in real quick, no, it isn't
Yeah.
hard because, even though we have training, that's, I went through the training. But I've dealt with, the citizens, on a one-on-one basis. But this is just basic. This is a basic humanitarian effort in terms of, I care about my fellow human being, whereas though I see some things, it's horrible that's going on right now. So I just want to I want to play my part as the app as a geolocator, and you can be on the other side of the world and help somebody right here in Philadelphia if you have the Philly Truce app downloaded. So I'm not going to say it's hard to find people that want to become mediators, but right now we can't really, basically all of our attention and ability to have great, outstanding people like Andrea, and in order to have the opportunity to meet someone such as her at her caliber and status is great. And we've been doing that just off of interviews and on television and radio. So that's been our only form of recruiting mediators right now, and it's been working out great. So I can imagine what it would be like, if we really put on a campaign publicly to recruit mediators. So I just also want to add that we're thinking about doing a sit-in or a hunger strike next month in front of Apple. So we have some things coming up, that we're going to get some national attention surrounding this issue. I know Barton, like he said, no one wants to be liable for any type of anything that bad to happen, but we have a solution here, and it's kind of being held up by a big corporation. And right now, we want to just see what their position is. I'm sorry, I ran over time.
That's all right.
I don't like that.
And back to you, Brandon. Not everybody will be able to mediate anything, and that's like with anything. Like if it's a tough situation that's in your life, whether it's domestic abuse or alcohol abuse, you pass it on to the next.
Yes.
That's what we have. We'll have a pass it on button to another mediator. We have a backup button in case we need help. So not everybody will be able to mediate everything with the different experiences in their lives. And people who may not be able to mediate at all will do an intake, or they'll answer the call and they'll pass it on to another mediator. There's so many can do.
That was my sort of question or thought, and maybe listeners had this as well, which is why I just wanted to bring it up, is like, I love this and would want to help in any way possible. And it's like, my fear is I would never want to cause more harm than good. Right. So like, I would never want to be in a situation where I escalate as opposed to de-escalate if I were, which I imagine is tricky.
It is tricky. And Philly Truce will never put people, if it does go to meet the mediation table, would never put anybody out there that's not fully 100% prepared.
Sure.
Nor will they put anyone out there that wouldn't be prepared to even answer the mediation call to pass it off. It's a pretty rigorous training.
Amazing.
And it's just only going to get better with more knowledge.
Well, part of our training that occurred was, I like the term that one of the trainers used, was we have to be expert listeners. So we're listening to someone, then we can't, like, you're absolutely correct, Brandon. You don't want to escalate anything, but if you're hearing both sides and staying in the middle and being non-judgmental and those sort of things, then that's what the training is really about. We have anger management, your listening skills, mediation map. We have a mediation map. So it's different components that we're actually building upon now, that will make anyone, as Andrea said, it's tiers to how you may be able to help someone. Something that may be easy for you to just give someone. And the term mediation could mean giving advice. Maybe, just giving somebody, if someone stubbed their toe and it's like, they may want to get help and ask a question like, should I call 911? Well, how bad is it? You talk through, it could be simple things, because some people, as I mentioned before, they just may not have the mental capacity in order to think simple things through. And that's what we're experiencing right now, is a whole eruption of bad decision making.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and probably some of these people don't have any basic structure with a family or with the community. They're not involved with the community. They don't really have anybody to talk to, really. And that may be part of the problem. They don't have anyone that can listen to them. So I agree with that.
That's right. There's a lot of
On-
people out there like that,
The two things. How can we help? And then how can somebody listening help or get involved if they want to with Philly Truce?
You want me to take that, Andre?
Yes. You take
Okay. I mean, well, it's multiple ways to help. For one, become a mediator. Go for sign up for training, mediation training. As I said, no one. This isn't about standing between guns on the street per se. You may stand in between a gun from the safety of your own home by telling someone something they need to hear in order to deter them from taking anything to that extent. But physically, no. But verbally, yes. Anonymously. So it's multiple ways to help, and everyone has to know their level of what help looks like to them. So everyone's capacity to help is different. So that's one way. Sign up to train to become a mediator, and then also you can donate also to Philly Truce. If you go to www.phillytruce.com, you can also contribute that way if you feel as though like, okay, well, I want to help this app reach more, because I mean it's going to be cost a lot of money in terms of advertising and promoting the app, which we're looking for funding for that. So far we've been pretty much out of our own pocket, so hopefully that will change shortly. But yeah, we need the city of Philadelphia. This is your app, so we need everyone from City Hall to the citizens, and then everyone in between to get involved. And I really got involved. I really wanted to do something because after, and I'm not going to take up much more time, after the George Floyd incident a year ago. So I saw the amount of attention that was focused on that. But at the same time, right here in Philadelphia, it was homicides every day. So it was like, okay, well, where are these all these groups at, in terms, so that's why I'm like, okay, well, they have that covered, so now we need to focus on this. So that's what, and there was nothing really for me to do. Like my wife even suggested, well, maybe you could get involved with an organization. At this point, I never envisioned that I would become, a head of something that could include all the organizations. So I mean, it was just it was just great that, I'm glad I paid attention and, wanted to, do something. And now this is everyone's opportunity to do something from the safety of your own home or in your car or wherever, your man cave or your woman cave. Everyone can do something now. As easy as we're talking on this podcast right now, everyone can do something. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Phines, you were gonna.
Yeah, let's see, a couple little questions before I go. Our comments. Let's see, 1992. That's the year I was born. So this year you graduated. That was funny.
Thanks.
Which, yeah, right. Make you feel old. Which makes, I'm gonna add on to that. Makes me feel older. You talked about ads and getting buses and whatever. But the old people, young people, it's all social media, like you were saying earlier. That's what we're gonna. I wonder if there is a way to reach. I don't know about your growth, and I know it's brand new, but I'm sure my generation and younger may feel comfortable and may feel like they can get more help or more connection through social media platforms, other than even calling somebody sometimes.
Yes.
I don't, that's just a comment. I just wrote that down of like, I know that's something that is going to be a concern for people that are my age and younger of like, I don't want to talk on the phone all the time. I mean, I don't mind talking on the phone, but I'm probably different than everybody else. But I assume it'd be nice to kind of look at someone's social media than always. Maybe I think I can build a closer relationship through your social media than actual mediating through like talking on the phone. I think sometimes, at least with this generation. And I just wonder if you guys have any ideas of growth for that. Do you have any? Do you think you're going to go that way, or?
Yes, definitely. We're hitting all angles of media for advertising, whether that's television, social media, print, radio. Yeah, we're everyone will know that this help is available because I salute all the organizations and all the people that have been doing this tirelessly for years, and it's people that have been even the city of Philadelphia, they're doing it. It looks like no one's doing anything, but the problem is that it hasn't been supported the way it hasn't grown with the times and things supported as far as in terms of the amount of people that's involved until now this app became available. Now we can come with numbers now. Before we were scattered. I like to use the analogy like we were like marbles scattered. And then now what Philly Truce does is it puts all the marbles in one bag. So now, okay, this organization knows what this religious group is doing. This religious group knows what the city agency is doing. The city agencies know what the citizens are doing. So now we can all work this together.
Yeah.
Phines, I'm going to bring that up tonight. We have a meeting tonight.
Well, I had one more question. I might have missed
I'll bring that up at the meeting about social media and that your age group, and that's really thank you for that advice.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. One more question. This is maybe I misheard, but there was something about, and I think the best mediators will be people that that were in prison, not anymore. But they said there may be a paying job. Like, can you, instead of volunteering after you get out of prison, is there a way you get paid to be a mediator, or is that just an option? Is that not an option for them? Did I hear that wrong?
Yeah, I brought that up about maybe thoughts of maybe getting the men and women that come out of prison and they could have a volunteer job coming right out of,
that seems like a good
prison,
idea.
and then if people do a good job, we could give them, they might potentially get a paying job. Am I wrong with that, Steve?
We're actually working on that now, to make it a paid position coming out of, because a lot of the returning citizens, they want to give back to the communities that maybe at one point in time they helped destroy, and then they've been rehabilitated. They understand, the consequences. They serve their time, and now they want to be heard. They want to help. We come across guys that they really want to help, genuinely want to help, and they want to help the younger guys. So it's like we're providing a platform for that also, and then a program, a mediator training program, looking at setting that up inside of the prison walls also.
Yeah.
Train and employ.
That sounds awesome.
Because they know street code, so it's
I'm sorry,
Stephen.
I'm sorry, Barton.
I'm sorry, Stephen. Andrea, have you considered talking with the Temple University radio station? They have a great radio station for jazz and other things, and they sometimes do like public announcements.
We haven't, but we will now.
Yeah.
Okay. Temple's they have a lot of issues in that area, the city, and they may.
Grandpa's lives in and grew up his whole life in Philadelphia, so he knows. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we definitely will reach out to them. We just trying to get the word out, get as much. I don't want to say as much support. The city needs all the in order to get ahead of this problem, we need everyone that can think things through logically and realistically to provide advice. We say mediator, but it's really advice to those that may call for help for who knows what is, that's some really simple things that could avoid a tragedy. So that's where we are. But we have a meeting at that started at 8 o'clock. So I hate to. I know I was really bad with.
Let's let you go. We always do final thoughts on the show. I guess Steve and Andrea, if you wouldn't mind just giving us your final thoughts for our audience, and then also please plug every website, platform, how to reach and find the app and you guys.
Go ahead, Steve.
I was going to say you, Andrea. My final thought is, first, I want to thank you, Grandpa, for having us on. I really appreciate you letting us take up your time to, give our solution to the problem that we're experiencing now, and that we just would like everyone. My final thought basically is that we would like everyone that has the ability to or want to, a willingness to help your fellow human beings, to download the Philly Truce app. Go to, if you have a Google or an Android phone, go on your Android phone, hit Become a Mediator. We'll download the app, hit Become a Mediator, and just do the training, and then, just join in, because we have to come. The only way to get ahead of the problem is to come with an army.
Yeah, if you can save even one life, it's very important.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys, for having us. Like when we were talking about, media outlets to talk to, I thought about you guys, because once your conversations just go. I love listening to your weekly podcasts, and I love being on them. And for me, I'm doing it for the children, to break the cycle, give them a voice, and to have them have a great life, because that's what they deserve. They need peace, and they need serenity.
Cool. Thank you guys so much. We can
thanks
let
for
you
the
go
offer.
and then
Yeah.
do final thoughts from everybody else, I guess. But
All right. Thank you so much, Brandon. Bye, friends.
Thank
Bye,
you guys
Sierra.
for
yeah,
coming.
thank you so
Bye,
much
Grandpa.
for coming on. We loved having you
All
guys.
right,
Nice meeting y'all. Nice meeting y'all.
Girl
Yeah.
Scout.
Bye-bye.
Hope you'll come on
We'll be in
again.
touch.
Yes, we will.
Have a great night.
Yeah. Finest, Sierra, Grandpa.
Yes.
I think this is a great idea.
It really a very important show. I think right now it's an opportune time, because I just happened to be talking about. I didn't know we were going to have this program with my wife last night. That it's just become unbelievable. Every day here in Philadelphia, there's shootings and people being killed, innocent people that just randomly being shot, and it's almost every day in the city.
Yeah.
Sierra.
I think this is a really good idea. We probably should have something like that in where I grew up. I'm really excited. I get where like Apple and them are coming from with like the security things, but I'm hoping that they can maybe meet with like, legal or IT and figure out the best way to like process mediators and all that, because I think it's a really good idea and a great way to help people find some resolution, especially children, without having to waste their time trying to call the police and get them to help.
Finest.
Yeah, I like the episode. I'm hot. Can't wait.
You're always hot,
I
Finest.
can't wait to turn that
Born
fan back
hot.
on, boy.
I've been spraying this canned air because it's cold, like all over the place. I'm so hot, bro.
Now I say that because it's getting hot this summer. It's gonna get hotter, so it's good that we have the Philly Truce app, because emotions get too hot and heavy out there. You might need a mediator there. That was my shameless plug of my new favorite app.
Jokes. Yeah, I just want to say that God, it's so good to be back. Honestly, I thought this was a really good show, and I feel like we could have more like it, like more of this format. So, But I missed you guys. So
Gang.
Miss you too.
Yeah, see you.
Brandon, we dead ass have to have a cooking episode now.
We'll have
we're
a
gonna
chef
do
on.
that. All right. Finest is yawning. The viewers have gone to sleep.
No, honestly, we only yawn because it's like, what's that word? I mean, not only yawn, but
It's nighttime.
yeah, it's you mimic someone else. Our viewers are yawning, and I just felt it.
Yeah. Don't,
Azumi
don't
somewhere
cut that
yawning.
out. Can we cut that out? Listen, guys, we have Patreon. The socials are up. Most importantly, please go to the Philly Truce app and give a shout out. And I'm gonna look into mediating actually. So
yeah.
But we will see you next week. We will be back. And Grandpa, I love you.
I love you, Brandon. And
that is our show.
Didn't even let his grandpa finish. I
I
love you too, Grandpa.
Grandpa, what are you saying? I don't know. Wait, are we off air? I don't give a fuck.
Podcasting with Grandpa Bart and Rosie, always on his shoulder. This is Grandpa and Chill.
Grandpa and Chill is brought to you by your hosts, Brandon Fox, Bart Frank, and Phines Jackson. Our producer is Sierra Doss. You can find episodes old and new on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch the show, and follow us on Twitter for behind-the-scenes moments you can't get anywhere else.